So quickly in this video, we're going to go over the burst spec, overall how it works, how it functions, what it scales well with, and when to use it. So this revolves around Temporal Flux, 20% damage, basically 20% haste, sorry, at 4 arcane charges. The rest of the ones I've spoken about in the previous video, where my mic was shit, and probably still is quite shit, and Overpowered for the burst spec, which doesn't rely on mana. The only thing it increases with is haste, crit, and your damage increase from your mastery. It is ridiculously strong. So what we're going to do is, like I said previously, I'm using Unstable Magic because it was buffed. I think that it's probably going to be better, but this is a mathematics row. So it's entirely based on which one's better rather than a scenario based. Don't get me wrong, Nether Tempest will still be better in AoE probably, but then so will Erosion, because you can spam Arcane Explosions into the ads and Mark of the Lunar stacks with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into rotation, we're going to hero, we're going to burst down a mob, probably going to go for 1 or 2 burst phases, and we're not going to do a second hero, because I'm going to mimic it for someone who doesn't have the Legendary Ring. This will be better with the Legendary Ring, no matter how you look at it, because of how overpowered scales. We're basically just going to tunnel into a mob and see how well it is. Small disclaimer, there will be some slight AoE damage, mainly because I cannot stand the current class or the noise is infuriating. Right, so let's see how this goes. I'm going to go for 4. I'm going to go for pot, hero, Mark of Alonith, Rune of Power, see if I can squeeze 2 Rune of Powers in. Strong opener. 1.5, 1.6 mils, pretty good. Right, we'll go for a second burst and then go for an overview. My SCADA is currently balked, so I can't look at a damage breakdown, but we'll just generally go over the spec, what I think its strengths are, and what I think legendaries it scales well with. And that'll be interesting. Right, let's get rid of this mana. Okay, I'm not sure where my damage went. Oh, okay. For some reason, I think my fight reset. That's quite... Yeah, it reset. Since I've been testing on this quite a while, DPS, what's my average DPS? I've done about 4-5 rounds of testing on this, and it's looking to be about 520k DPS for this burst rotation. Not bad. Generally, I think it's probably going to be better than quickening for people who don't have BIS legendaries, people who don't have the braces, people who don't have the new legendary headpiece, or people that don't have the legs, because the legs are about churning out barrages and churning out those barrages to get that mana back. What I think will end up happening is lower end players will play with Overpowered because they have no real way to get mana back other than evocation, and you use mana fast and you get it back basically without evocation. So what it's looking to be like, lower tier players, lower end will use Overpowered. People who want to play it safe will use Overpowered. People that want to play it risky at the higher end will probably use Quickening, and people who are completely brain dead and retarded will probably use Arcane Orb. But it's actually quite a fun spell to use. That's for this current iteration of the PTR anyway, which is the first build they've put out, 7.1.5. The only other thing I can mention is having +1 Evo. It can be really good. The problem is that, so imagine it like you don't use mana enough. You use mana too slowly in evocation. Using Overpowered for your evocations to be like massive damage increases, but you also use mana way too fast in quickening. If I went quickening now, when 1 mana bar, get rid of it, evocate, second mana bar, I use that second mana bar so quickly. We're talking 5 or 6 casts. Now imagine that on top of another evo. That evocation will be like, it'll probably take a second to cast. It will be, or probably anywhere between 0.6 to 1 second to cast. It will go instantly, and you'll probably use that mana up in 3 or 4 spells. Quite simply because it does so much damage, and you won't have any rune of powers left. So it will literally just be a full wasted mana bar. What you'll probably have to do is barrage in between those, just to make it useful again. So you basically get a free evo. I'm yet to see any sims on this though, and probably won't make my own sim builds, but still it'll be interesting. Organon's Foresight's still absolutely awful. Chord of Infinity, yeah, it's still okay in AoE. Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish, I don't know how it scales. I don't know what increases its damage, because if that scales with Colossus Smash on warriors, that's going to be a 2 to 4 million crit. If you're looking, actually no, yeah, you're probably looking at about 4 million crit. If you're someone like an Arcane Mage, if that scales with Overpowered, then you're probably looking for similar numbers. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would even work like that, because if it does, that's ridiculous. We're talking any important ads that you need to kill, you'll one-shot them. Almost. Especially in normal, you'll probably one-shot them. In Mythic, you'll probably do 10% of the health, but still 10% of like a mass AoE health ad is still a lot. Yeah, we'll have to see what goes on. I think Ronin's Assaulting Armor Ups will be worth even more with quickening, and that's already BIS on live. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens, and I'll probably make my next video when the next round of changes come in, because I doubt the level 100 talents right now are fun, and we know Blizzard, so they'll probably change something and completely ruin it. But yeah, at the moment, really fucking good job, Blizzard. Really good. This is a fantastic round of Arcane Mages, and I like the direction you're going in, which is you can have burst, or you can have split damage, you can have sustain. I think it fits the fantasy, but I think your level 75 talents need a bit of work. Completely useless. Right, thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.